A full-blown war has broken out in West Asia. The US-led Red Sea coalition has attacked Yemen. Yemen was on fire last night. Multiple cities were hit, multiple targets were struck, people died, and eyewitnesses say there were explosions throughout the country. What does the escalation mean for global shipping, and what does this new war mean for India? We will answer all the questions tonight, and we begin with the basics. The attack began on Thursday night. Militaries of the US and the UK led the strikes. They were supported by the other countries of the Red Sea coalition. I am talking about Australia, Bahrain, Canada, and the Netherlands. How many locations were hit in Yemen? At least 16. Many of them were in the capital Sana'a, in fact. A military base near the Sana'a airport was targeted. Hodeidah was also struck, including the naval base there. A military area near the airport in the governorate of Taiz was hit, as were several sites in Haja and Sadr. The US hit 60 targets. Among them were command centers, control rooms, weapon depots, drone storage, drone launch sites, missile launching system, cruise missile launch sites and storage facilities, weapon production facilities, and also air defense radar systems. The British military carried out strikes in Bani in Yemen's northwest, also in the Abs airfield. All in all, there were 72 strikes. This is as per the Houthis. The coalition forces launched an amphibious attack on Thursday night. Houthi targets were hit from air, surface and sub-platforms. Reports say in the sea, the USS Florida took part in the attack. Also from the sea, submarines fired Tomahawk land attack missiles towards Yemen. And from the air, fighter jets struck the targets. 4 British Typhoon jets left their Cyprus base on Thursday night. They were joined by 2 air-to-air refueling tankers. The jets then took part in coordinated strikes alongside the US jets. The British military released this footage. It shows the Typhoon jets and a Voyager tanker taking off from an airbase in Cyprus. And we also have visuals of American jets taking off from a US carrier. The destruction, reports say, was significant. How many people died? The Houthis said the strikes killed 5 people and injured 6 others. The US military officials say they used precision-guided munition to minimize collateral damage. And reports say the coalition forces used at least 100 precision-guided munitions. And while all of this was happening, the US Secretary of Defense remained in hospital. Reports say Lloyd Austin watched the strikes in real time from the hospital. A wider war in West Asia is something we have been warning you about for a while now, because all the signs were pointing towards this. It began with the Houthi attacks in the Red Sea, ships being targeted, hijacked. In the beginning of the year, the Houthis and the American troops came face to face. This was following an attempt to hijack a Singapore-flagged vessel. American choppers shot and sank 3 Houthi boats. We are being told that this is where everything went south. US President Joe Biden was on a vacation in the US Virgin Islands. He called for a meeting of the national security team. A joint statement was issued by the US and its allies on the 3rd of January. The Houthis openly defied it by detonating an unmanned boat near a US vessel in the Red Sea. On the 9th, the Houthis launched the largest attack to date. The US-led Red Sea coalition shot down 21 missiles and drones. And it was that day that Biden reportedly gave the go-ahead to his national security team for carrying out strikes in Yemen. And after last night's attack, Biden released a statement. The American president said he will, quote-unquote, not hesitate to direct further measures to protect our people and the free flow of international commerce as necessary, quote-unquote. But you see, this is just one side of the story. What about the Houthis? They have pledged to continue fighting alongside the Hamas until the war ends. They have pledged to attack Israeli ships in the Red Sea, and now they are vowing to avenge the attack on Yemen. The Houthi leader Abdul Malik al-Houthi has said the attack on Yemen will not go unanswered, and this response, he says, will be much more than attacking US ships in the sea. What kind of response is the Houthi leader hinting at? This is now an all-out war. The battleground, after all, has expanded. America has been drawn in a direct engagement with a group backed by Iran. Does it increase the chances of a direct conflict between Iran and the US? What about the war in Yemen and the fragile ceasefire? Saudi Arabia was quick to distance itself from the escalation. The kingdom has called for restraint. The Saudi Foreign Ministry said, and I'm quoting, the kingdom emphasizes the importance of maintaining the security and stability of the Red Sea region as the freedom of navigation in it is an international demand. Russia has condemned the US-led strikes, calling it irresponsible.
We believe that this venture by the illegal coalition forces poses a direct threat to global peace and security.
China, meanwhile, said it is concerned about the Red Sea tensions, adding that Beijing is in touch with all parties involved to, quote-unquote, push for a cooling down of the situation.
China calls on all parties to work together and maintain the safety of international shipping lanes and avoid attacks on civilian vessels, which are indeed detrimental to the world economy and trade.
The UK and Australia said the attacks were acts of self-defense and in favor of freedom of navigation. Let me just remind you where the battleground is and what it looks like. This is where this is all happening, in the Red Sea. And now with Yemen burning, the entire stretch from the Gulf of Aden upwards to the Suez Canal becomes extremely dangerous. You see, this widened conflict in West Asia stands to burn one of the world's most critical trade routes. Nearly 15% of global seaborne trade passes through the Red Sea. Also, 8% of global grain trade, 12% of seaborne traded oil, 8% of the world's liquefied natural gas. All of this passes through the Red Sea. What happens now that this trade route is burning? Well, oil prices have already jumped, by the way, following the strikes on Yemen. Brent futures spiked over 4%. Global benchmark touched $80.75. Today, West Texas Intermediate and Brent were both trading above their 50-day moving averages. Where is this going? Chances are the situation will get worse. Here's why. If the Houthis are pledging revenge, Americans also say there is more to come. What does this widening conflict really mean for India then? Maritime blockades and trade disruptions are bound to derail supply chains and affect global trade, which includes trade originating from and destined for India. This new war will also heighten security concerns for India-linked ships. India has increased its navy presence in the region, stretching from the North and Central Arabian Sea to the Gulf of Aden. 10 warships have been deployed in the region. India has increased surveillance and deterrence against the threat from drones and pirates. India has chosen to not join the US-led Red Sea Alliance, but New Delhi is independently working towards promoting maritime security. WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the updates on the move.